All right, here we go. Here we go this time. It's good to see you all for real now. It looks like we're looking at possibly another lockdown. Another lockdown which our economy frankly can't handle, and which none of us really want, right? I mean, there's some danger here in that our economy cannot handle another one of these things. We saw the worst downturn since the last, Great Depression. The last time we tried this, we've managed to climb out from under, and now they're talking about doing it again. You're seeing so many governors all around the country right now that are trying to enact these things. Michigan, right? The Supreme Court turned her down before, so now you've got the governor in Michigan going to Health and Human Services. Now, I am not one to argue and say that people shouldn't protect themselves. They absolutely should. But the question is, at what point does the federal government or do these state governments and even frankly local governments, why are they intervening to the extent they're intervening? I mean, can we not be smarter about this? More strategic about it? And simultaneously, you've got to ask yourself about the hypocrisy that's going on. Because on the one hand, you've got the mayor in Chicago who's pointing out that, it's not essential to get your hair done, but simultaneously is going and getting her hair done, right? Or you have the DC mayor who's saying, you should only go to essential gatherings and yet travels out of state to celebrate Joe Biden's win. It's a question of what do you personally think is important? And clearly, a lot of these lawmakers think various things are very important to them. But what about the individual? Can't they decide what's important to them as an individual? This is my concern. This is my worry right now, because I fear that we're going right down into the same old trap that we went into before. And the question is, will we be able to climb out? I'm skeptical, given that it seems there's going to be a new economic team. And by the way, between 2016 and 2019, we had a little blip, right, with COVID, but we've come out of it fabulously well because we've got a terrific economic team there in DC right now at the federal level that believes wholeheartedly in lower taxes and less regulation. If you get a new team in there and you've got a lot of people, and there are names being floated, including, we have a story on this, by the way, on my website, trishintel.com, including Bernie Sanders, including Elizabeth Warren, including Andrew Yang, who I'd say is, the least of the evils there. I actually like Andrew. Don't like his policies, but I think that he would be a breath of fresh air compared to some of those other Washington insiders you have there. Anyway, you get all these leftists that may then be in a new administration. So good luck trying to get out of an economic downturn then. I mean, we need to be very careful about putting ourselves back into a position from which we cannot crawl out. Good to see all of you guys here tonight. This is the Trish Regan Show. I am Trish Regan. I love being here talking directly with all of you. You've got to download my podcast. If you are not downloading that, go to Trish Intel right now and download it. Sign up for it. I'm covering all the stories that are relevant right now. We've got a market that's on fire. It's as though COVID never happened, right? Or maybe they're just trying to buy up as much as they can because there is the danger in Joe Biden's administration that taxes will go up, the economy will struggle, and you may pay the price in terms of your investments. We shall see, but I suppose this is a little bit of a last hurrah. Look, I'd love for it not to be. I'm always an optimist, and I'm willing to give some people the benefit of the doubt. But that means you can't go around and put Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders and a whole leftist crew in your administration. You've got to be really thoughtful about who you pick there. Meanwhile, think about Georgia, you guys. Georgia is so critical right now. If I'm Biden, and if it looks like I'm going to be president, and I say looks like because you still have a president, by the way, who's not conceding this thing. And you still have a lot of questions about the authenticity of voting and these voting machines. And his attorney, Sidney Powell, she's out there on the warpath right now, basically saying that they're going to overturn some of these things. So let's just keep the hypothetical for now until everything is finalized, until somebody's conceded, right? But if you see Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and their economic team in there fiddling with the economy, as I suspect they might, I mean, that's good luck. I mean, we're going to have a whole set of challenges that are in front of us. But I suspect that he would kind of like it. He might just love it if the Republicans win in Georgia and the Republicans therefore have the Senate. You know why? He can sit back and he can preach as much as he wants. Kumbaya, unity, all that good stuff. You know, whether or not they mean it, I'll believe it when I see it. But you can get out there in front of it and talk about holding hands while you have the adults in the room, the Senate, actually making the real decisions. And by real decisions, I mean when it comes to taxes, right? When it comes to regulation. Of course, he could put in a fair amount of regulation, just saying, right, with some of these executive orders. So be on the lookout for that. But at least as far as taxes go, I don't think he's going to be able to do a tremendous amount. As far as spending goes, again, he's not going to be able to do a tremendous amount. So if I'm him, I kind of like it that way. Because then I can just point and say, oh, it's the Republicans' fault. I'm not getting any of these leftist agenda things done. But what happens meanwhile to the party with this civil war effectively erupting, right? With the Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's and the squad on one side and the sort of more centrist group on the other. I don't know, because if he doesn't get any of these policy ideas through, they may continually and increasingly get angry, put that pressure on him. And then, I don't know, push comes to shove, right? In 2 years or in 4 years. But I think America has made it clear. Look, there was no blue wave. More than 71 million people voted for this president. And, well, some like his personality. Let's just say it's an acquired taste. So I don't think everybody was out there voting fully on personality. People were voting because they know that this is the policy that's going to get us forward. They believe in lower taxes. They believe in freedom. They believe in the individual. And that all right now effectively is under threat. When you've got politicians saying, okay, it's not just shutdown, it's lockdown. And we want a lockdown for 4 to 6 weeks. We're going to pay people to lose their jobs. That's the attitude right now, as though we can afford to take on more debt. $27 trillion and counting. We need some sensible adults in the room. I think you'll get that in the way of the Senate. I certainly hope you'll get that. And we need business to be able to function as it has, right? In a meritocracy, in a capitalist environment. Because if not, we're going to really have our challenges out there in front of us. And Bernie Sanders as Labor Secretary, look, good luck. I mean, I appreciate his authenticity. I will tell you that. I mean, at least the guy's consistent, right? Which is unfortunately more than you can say about some of his competition. But nonetheless, there's a consistency there with policies that I do not think would be very helpful to us as a nation. Let's not forget, under any circumstances, we are capitalists. Good to see all of you guys here. Volume, we'll get that up a little bit. Let me see if that helps you a little bit. Yes, I agree, John. Hopefully you can keep the Senate. Hopefully it's important to have that sort of balance, right? Where you don't have just one side dictating the policies, because if so, it could really run amok. Good to see you all again. Let's hope we don't have another lockdown, but I know some states are already seeing it. New York, as of Friday, everything's closing down at 10 p.m. You can't have more than 10 people in your house. So happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Be safe, be careful, and don't let them take your freedoms. Have a good night.